Welcome to the Cake 101 Butter Cake. Just set it in there, make sure it's loose. Yes. Okay, and nice. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Cake 101 Butter Cake. In this case we're going to make a pound cake fully out of real butter. I will walk you through the ingredients. It's quite easy. It's 200 grams of pastry flour or all-purpose flour, 200 grams of crystal sugar, 200 grams of butter and 200 grams of eggs. I added some salt, so I added 7 grams of salt and 5 grams of baking powder. Let's start by creaming up the butter a little bit in the machine. Make sure your butter is at room temperature, so leave it out overnight or a couple hours before you start making your cake. We're going to cream it up nicely. Okay, the butter is creamed up a bit. Now we're going to add the crystal sugar to it. Perfect. Meanwhile, we're going to sift the salt and baking powder through the flour. So, got a fine sieve over here. First going to place the flour in the sift, and then the salt and baking powder. Sift it all nicely together. That there are no big lumps anymore. Perfect. Let's set that away. The butter and sugar are now creaming up really nicely. Then we're going to add the eggs. So make sure you measure your eggs, because we got small eggs, medium and large eggs here in Holland, and these are different in weight. So I always measure them. Just bit by bit. Make sure also your eggs are at room temperature. Very important for the perfect cake. Now let's mix this up a little bit together until it's almost mixed. This will not always mix perfectly, but when it's starting to mix, we can add the flour, baking powder and salt mixture to it. The butter and the eggs and sugar are almost mixed. Then we're going to add slowly, bit by bit, the sift flour, salt and baking powder mixture. Make sure your machine is at the lowest possible speed, because when the cake is mixed, it's done. We don't need to have a lot of air into the cake mixture, because we are using a leavening agent, in this case baking powder. So when there is a better consistency and you see no big butter lumps or loose egg, it's done. Okay, in this case I prep my cake tin. This is a large cake tin. This is enough for this entire batch, that we can make one nice pound cake out of. Now, batter is done. Let's turn off the machine. Take a look. Could be that there's still a little bit of flour stick to the side of your machine bowl. Just use the spatula or the bishop to remove it and mix it a little bit in through your batter. Now we're going to pour in the batter in the cake tin. And the recipe now I use is exactly for a cake tin like this. We will put the dimensions in the lesson description that you will find attached to this course. Perfect. Now leveling it out, I always just shake it around a bit and then twice on a hard surface. That will drop down nicely in all the corners. And we're going to bake this in an oven about roughly 150-160 degrees Celsius for 60 to 55 minutes. The butter cake is out of the oven, so let's get it out of the tin. I always use kind of grill-like rack with a kitchen cloth on there, kitchen towel, to make sure that it's still breathable but not lose too much of the moisture. Just set it in there, make sure it's loose. Yes, look at that. Now let's put the cloth on there, tuck it in real nice, and let it cool down for roughly 30 minutes. And then you can transfer it to a container and store it in a cool place. Now the cake is cooled down. Let's cut into it to see if the structure is okay and nice. Now here we see a really rich and buttery structure, quite yellow, a little bit coarse for my taste, but it's good. It feels moist, so it's nice, perfect. Thank you all for running the course pound cake with butter. Good luck with the next courses. Welcome to the Cake 101 butter cake. Just set it in there, make sure it's loose. Yes. Okay, and nice.